10 steps of forecasting process. So forecasting is a sub process under demand planning. So we'll be talking in brief and key pointers which should be kept in mind while designing your forecasting process. So let us discuss them one by one. Starting with the first point, which is identifying the exact purpose or goal of forecasting. So when you're designing your forecasting process, you should be very clear in your mind why you want to start this forecasting process. It can be for a number of reasons. Certain industries have their capacity as a bottleneck. They want capacity to be planned in well in advance, right? So you may need it for capacity planning. Second, sometimes it is needed for raw material planning, or sometimes it may be need for manpower. Like service industries, the show is run by the number of engineers, software engineers which you have. So in such cases, so this is the most important part of the full forecasting process. Everything should be in line to this. If this is not clear, so the whole forecasting process may be a fail. So have a clear cut purpose or goal in mind. What do you want to forecast and why do you want to forecast? Okay. So once you have it, then you go to the next step, which is defining the level at which you want to forecast. So you may have a different product hierarchy with you. Right? You have product family from SKU level, then you have different levels of product hierarchy. You want to decide at which level you want to forecast. So though the down you go into the granular level, you have least accuracy. Higher you are, you have the highest accuracy. Higher in the hierarchy, you get higher into the hierarchy, you get the best accuracy, a more accurate result. Lower into the hierarchy, lower on the granular level, you will have less accuracy. But again, the agenda of the forecasting is not to be, or the goal of forecasting process is not to be accurate. Not only to be accurate, of course, being accurate is one of the uh, purpose or one of the aspects we accept from forecasting. But we need to keep in mind what do you expect. Yeah, if your goal needs to be to go more granular, go granular. Yeah. So keeping this in mind, keeping on how different level you will get different level of accuracies on basis of which you decide at what level you want to forecast. That's the second step. Third is you set the unit of measure. So you want in terms of volume you want to forecast, in terms of dollars you want to forecast. So here you can decide. Fourth is a planning horizon. Till what uh, period into the future you want to forecast, like 1 month, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. So this totally depends upon how you want to use the forecast. What's the application of the forecast? Right? Suppose you want to plan a raw material which needs to be planned 2 years in advance. Suppose it's a particular crop in the field which needs to be sowed in advance, and fields need to be broke, the water irrigation need to be planned in advance. If such is the case, then you may need to plan for your product 3 years in advance, 4 years in advance. So based on this, you can decide how much horizon you are planning to forecast. Next is data compilation and visualization. So I have a different lesson on altogether on this, how you should be compiling the data. So in that we will be discussing it later. So, but in short, you have to compile the data in a way so that it helps. It is on the stage, or it's on the level, or it is as per the criteria which you have decided, like what level you are forecasting, what planning horizon you want to forecast. So those things should be captured here. Then you identify the best forecasting models. Now you what type of data you have, how much outliers it have, what's the trend, what's the seasonality, how much promotions you have. You After doing all those things, you come up with the final forecasting model, whether you want to go with the causal model or you want to go with the time series model. So that will be decided in this stage. Once you have one of the best models, you go and test it against your historical data or testing data, as we see in data science. Once you're tested and your forecast model is good to go, you start forecasting. Once you have forecast in your hand, you come up with a consensus forecast. What is a consensus forecast? The consensus forecast is the agreed upon forecast among different functions: operational, supply chain, finance, that this is the final number that we are targeting considering our financial target, operational target, and supply chain targets. So considering everything, you come up with a final plan. So that's the consensus forecast. So this is really important when you have supply and constrained industry or environment. So once this is done, again you come back to the first. The whole process is repeated again and again, because it's a continuous process. So if not the whole process may be repeated in a year or in a 2 years, but at least from uh, this point of view, that you see which model is performing better, or from data compilation. So this process will be repeated again and again, so that it's a continuous improvement process. It's not a one time activity, the forecasting process. This full step, or this first four step, or the full forecasting process, you may repeat, not so frequently, but yeah, these are also important. So this is it for this lesson, the brief about, or the key pointers, steps in the forecasting process. Thank you and have a great day ahead.